Dear British Gas, we had a great deal of distress to find £3,019 taken from our private bank account by an unauthorised, supposedly direct debit. How can a direct debit be of over £3,000? Where has common sense gone in your company? First of all, we would like to point out that we do not understand how you came up with the figure of £3,019. No bill has been received. Once again, no bill has been received, and this was only realised by sheer coincidence as I was performing one of my regular checks of my private bank account. Please note that, thank goodness, in the UK, neither individual, private company nor PLC like you can take any money from bank accounts without prior authorization, as doing so, guess what, may be unlawful. Dear British Gas, you stored and maybe still do my bank account details against my will and maybe against the Data Protection Act. British Gas, this is only one of the breaches we have identified, only one. If required, if and when required, hopefully it's just an if, we will make clear reference to the number of legislation breaches you have committed, how they were breached, and the proof, of course, of those breaches. Dear British Gas, you stated in the bank account transaction this was a £3,019 direct debit. This is another breach of the direct debit scheme. The amount of direct debit must be first agreed with the other party before you change it, and especially if you change it to such a large amount. I guess your management is not aware of the significance of £3,019. But how much is your management making anyway? If someone is working, how long does it take to earn such an amount? Maybe a long time. In this case, you may have willfully committed an abuse by accessing a previous direct debit bank account details, which at the time of the misdeed you had no rights to, and changed it and accessed it without my consent anyway. One simple question: who could agree to a £3,019 direct debit? Seriously, this looks like a clear abuse. Dear British Gas, in our eyes, this was a failed attempt of misappropriation of my property by taking advantage of the confidential information which should have been destroyed and shredded anyway. Because guess what? Was not your customer at the time of the misdeed. Dear British Gas, you purposely attempted to raid my bank account without any warning. Yet, you could have called me, texted me, asked me to call you, emailed me, and of course you did not, for you could not have asked for it anyway, because this form of payment is maybe unlawful? Dear British Gas, you maybe not be aware of it. In the UK, when you try to collect payments, you must ask for consent. And payment gateways details must not be stored within any company or organizations. Dear British Gas, whoever may be watching here would be asking, what is the supply for? What was British Gas supplying? An industrial supply, a shop, manufacturing facility, a factory, a takeaway, a hotel, a restaurant. Guess what? A 3-bedroom house. Was it gas and electricity together? No, just electric. Was the heating electric? No, it was gas, and it's still gas. Is there an electric hot water cylinder? No, only a combi gas boiler. £3,019 may not be a bit strange. Dear British Gas, how many times do you do this? Are British Gas aware that you may have committed not one, but many breaches of a number of laws and directives? We will just give you a hint, which is only the tip of the iceberg. How about just the Data Protection Act? Do not worry, this is only one of them anyway. So British Gas have attempted and failed a bank account raid. Are British Gas aware of the gravity of these unlawful activities and their implications? Not only from a mere perspective, but also, and most importantly, of the effects it has on individuals and families. Dear British Gas, your negligence, unreasonable and unlawful acts have caused a great deal of clearly quantifiable damage, which, when required, will be amply demonstrated. The evidence is so overwhelming that it does not leave any possibility of reasonable doubt as a possible defense. The breaches are all too clear, and plenty of evidence has been collected and is getting ready for use. Dear British Gas, I found myself in the very fortunate position of being able to stand up to your malpractices and abuses. British Gas, the real problem here is that, like myself, there are many families in Britain which have to endure this sort of abuses and are found sometimes overwhelmed and powerless by the situation you may put them in. I'm glad not to be your customer. Further correspondence will follow.